Single dad helped a pregnant woman, got fired, not knowing she was his CEO. Warning disclaimer. This story is a work of fiction inspired by acts of kindness and second chances. All characters, names, and events are purely imaginary. Any resemblance to real persons or events is coincidental. The rain came down in sheets that evening, turning the city streets into a blur of reflections and rushing water. Daniel Carter tightened his worn jacket as he hurried out of the office building, glancing at his phone. 6:12 p.m. He sighed. Late again. His 5-year-old daughter, Lily, would be waiting at the neighbor's apartment. He hated that, hated every second she had to wait because he couldn't afford better childcare. But after his wife passed away 2 years ago, everything had changed. Daniel had become both father and mother overnight, juggling grief, bills, and a job that barely kept them afloat. Just a little longer, he often whispered to himself. I'll figure it out. As he rushed toward the bus stop, something caught his eye. Across the street, near a flickering street lamp, a woman sat on the curb. She was hunched over, one hand gripping her side, the other bracing against the wet pavement. Her clothes, simple but elegant, were soaked through. Her face was pale, strained. And unmistakably, she was pregnant. Daniel stopped. For a split second, his mind raced through everything he should do. You're late. You can't afford trouble. What if this costs your job? Then Lily's face flashed in his mind. What would he want someone to do if it were her someday? He didn't think again. He ran. Hey, are you okay? He asked, kneeling beside her despite the rain soaking his knees. The woman winced. I think something's wrong. I felt a sharp pain and got dizzy. I tried calling for help, but, she glanced at her phone. Dead. All right, Daniel said gently, steadying his voice. Don't panic. I'm here. I don't even know you, she whispered, fear flickering in her eyes. That's okay, he said softly. You don't need to. He quickly looked around. No taxis, no help, just the relentless rain. Without hesitation, he took off his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. I'm taking you to the hospital. Wait, no, But Daniel had already flagged down a passing car, practically stepping into the road to stop it. After a tense moment, the driver agreed. Daniel helped the woman into the back seat, climbing in beside her. Which hospital? The driver asked. Nearest one, Daniel replied. Fast, please. The ride was tense. The woman's breathing was uneven, her hand gripping Daniel's arm tightly with every bump in the road. Stay with me, he said calmly. What's your name? Sophia, she managed. I'm Daniel. You're going to be okay, Sophia. She looked at him, confused. Why are you helping me? Daniel gave a small, tired smile. Because someone should. At the hospital, Daniel didn't leave. He stayed through the chaos, the nurses rushing in, the doctors asking questions, the paperwork that wasn't his responsibility but he handled anyway because Sophia could barely speak. Are you family? A nurse asked. Daniel hesitated. Number. The nurse paused, then nodded. You can wait here. Hours passed. Daniel checked his phone, multiple missed calls from his boss. Then a message. If you're not back within the hour, don't bother coming tomorrow. Daniel closed his eyes. He had already made his choice. At 9:47 p.m., a doctor finally approached him. She's stable, the doctor said. It was a scare, but both mother and baby are okay. She's resting now. Daniel exhaled deeply, relief washing over him. Can I see her? Briefly. Sophia lay in the hospital bed, pale but calm now. When she saw Daniel, her eyes softened. You stayed, she said quietly. Of course I did. You didn't have to. Daniel shrugged. Yeah, I did. There was a moment of silence. Thank you, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. You might have saved us. Daniel shook his head. Just get some rest. He turned to leave. Wait, she said. At least tell me how I can repay you. Daniel paused. Then he smiled faintly. Take care of yourself. That's enough. And with that, he walked out. The next morning, Daniel stood in front of his manager's desk. You're fired. The words were blunt, cold. You left during work hours. No notice. No explanation, his manager continued. We can't run a business like that. Daniel nodded slowly. I understand. No argument. No defense. Because deep down, he knew he'd make the same choice again. Days passed. Job applications. Rejections. Bills piling up. Lily noticed. Daddy, are we going to be okay? She asked one night. Daniel forced a smile. Always. But for the first time, he wasn't sure. A week later, Daniel received a call. Mr. Carter, a formal voice said, we'd like you to come in for an interview. Interview? For what position? You'll see when you arrive. The building was different. Modern, massive, the kind of place Daniel had only seen from the outside. He stepped inside, feeling out of place in his worn shoes. A receptionist smiled. We've been expecting you. Please go to the top floor. Top floor. Daniel's confusion grew. When the elevator doors opened, he stepped into a sleek office space with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. And there, standing near the glass, was Sophia. But she looked different now. Confident, composed, powerful, no longer vulnerable in the rain. Daniel, she said, smiling warmly. He froze. Sophia, she nodded. Or should I say, your CEO. Daniel blinked. What? I own this company, she explained gently. The one you worked for. Everything clicked. The sudden interview, the building, the call. He shook his head. You're my boss. Sophia smiled. Yes, and I've been looking for you. Daniel stood there, speechless. You helped me when you had every reason not to, Sophia continued. You didn't know who I was. You didn't expect anything in return. I just did what anyone would do, Daniel said. She shook her head. No, she said softly. You did what most people wouldn't. She walked closer. I found out what happened. That you lost your job because of me. Daniel looked down. It's okay. No, it's not. There was a pause. Then Sophia smiled. I'd like to offer you a position here. Daniel looked up. A better one, she added. Higher pay, flexible hours, enough to take care of your daughter properly. Daniel's heart pounded. Why? He asked. Because character matters more than resumes, she said. And because people like you are rare. Tears welled in Daniel's eyes, though he quickly blinked them away. I don't know what to say. Sophia smiled. Say yes. Weeks later, Daniel's life looked different. Not perfect, but stable. Lily had a proper daycare now. Their home felt lighter. Hope had returned. One evening, as Daniel tucked Lily into bed, she looked up at him. Daddy, yeah, you're smiling more. Daniel paused. Then he smiled again. Yeah, he said softly. I guess I am. Sometimes, life doesn't reward you immediately. Sometimes, doing the right thing costs you everything, at first. But every once in a while, it comes back in ways you never expected. And when it does, it changes everything. 1500 WAD.